Welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast. Did you know that plants are truly amazing? Not only can you grow them and eat them, you can also wear them, drink them, nourish your skin with them, and so much more. Let Ellen and Michael inspire you to love plants as much as they do, as they chat with the movers and shakers in this wonderful plant-based world. So, let's dig in.
Series 19 of the Plant-Based Podcast is sponsored by Gwen Hines Floral Design. Enjoy gorgeous flowers to lift your mood or gift to a loved one with stunning seasonal bouquets, monthly subscriptions, eloquent wedding flowers and home floral decorations. Gwen Hines bring nature-led designs to your home because flowers really do make people happy. Now serving in Charlotte, North Carolina, including surrounding areas, and in the UK from 2026. Check us out at queenandfine.com and follow us on Instagram at queenandfine.
Hey guys, welcome to the Plant-Based Podcast, where we dig into the stories behind the plants we love and the people that care for them. Today we're joined by Gwen Hines at Plant Heritage. This is a charity dedicated to saving the UK's garden plants from being lost forever.
From rare roses to forgotten fuchsias, they're on a mission to protect the incredible diversity found in our gardens and to support the passionate individuals keeping these plants alive for future generations. So let's dive in. Yeah.
Welcome, Gwen. How are you?
I'm really well. Thanks very much for having me.
Oh, no problem.
You're so welcome.
So first up, before we dig in, which is a pun, tell us a bit about yourself, maybe even a bit about your career history and kind of what landed you at Plant Heritage and how long you've been there and what your role is, please.
Sure. Well, I've been on board with Plant Heritage for just over a year and a half. And for me, it was a really big career move. I spent nearly 3 decades as a humanitarian aid worker.
Wow.
So I've lived all over the world, and my last job was running Save the Children. So I've gone from kind of a team of 1,000 staff to 9, including me, and very much focused now on the UK and the amazing plant diversity we have here.
Wow.
What? I need more detail there. I'm sorry. There's a lot to take in. You can't just stop.
Well, you know, as a teaser. So I joke it was my 50th birthday present to myself.
Yeah.
I decided that I've got 2 real passions in life. One is child rights, and I still care really deeply, passionately about that. But I also care about plants and gardening. And I think like many people, I got more and more into it. And when I was doing lots of really stressful things, it became the thing that made me happy. Always a good way to resolve stress. So I've dug a couple of ponds in my time. I found myself taking over my neighbors' gardens to play with plants in between flying around the world, doing really tough stuff on conflicts, refugee crisis, everything. And so I thought, you know what? It's time I focused on my other passion of plants.
Wow.
That's so cool.
I mean,
Oh my gosh.
it's incredible to work in something that you're so passionate about. It's something that I feel passionate about telling people to work in an industry that they feel passionate about, because that's where, you know, you really find opportunity and job satisfaction as well, don't you? So that's amazing. I love that.
I think you do.
Yeah.
Well, you know, digging ponds is great stress relief, isn't it? It's good fun. And also, we all know they're really good for gardens. They're really good for wildlife.
Oh,
so I've got a small suburban garden, but, you know, so it's a pretty small pond. You know, I look at people who've got huge ones, maybe one day. But, you know, even just a small pond is fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Tell us briefly about your role in Plant Heritage and kind of what you've been doing there for the last year then, in that case.
Sure. So I'm the chief executive, which sounds really fancy, but honestly, it's not. We're a membership charity. So we've got thousands of members across the UK. We have a tiny team of 9 people, including me. Nearly everyone is part-time. So we work very heavily with volunteers. We've got hundreds of volunteers. And that's everybody from people who help in the office. So we've had people in today helping us with things like scanning our historical records. But the national collection holders are the thing we're best known for. So we're the home of the national plant collections. And the national collections are all held by individuals. And that's everyone from somebody in their back garden or their allotment to the King's got a national, he's got 3 national collections. So we work very much with this amazing network of people who care about plants across the UK. And we also work in Ireland with the Irish Garden Plant Society. There's a Plant Heritage in Guernsey. We work with an organisation in the Isle of Man who care about plant conservation. So it really is this network of people who care about plants, who care about plant conservation. So we work very much together.
Yeah, that's really cool. Do you know, many years ago, a friend of mine, he said, do you want to come over and see my fuchsia collection, like National Fuchsia Collection, right? And I don't know what I was imagining, but when I got there, it was all in his greenhouse, in his garden, and it was like temperature, you know, monitored.
Laid out like a lot.
I mean, it was just, absolutely amazing. And it was in his back garden in Norwich. Do you know what I mean? And I had no idea that these national collections were just, you know, here, there, and everywhere in many different forms. But it was really very incredible to see.
They really are everywhere. You know, I think like many people, before I joined the organization, I'd seen them on TV. I'd seen these people who'd, you know, could name every single one of a particular type of cactus or something like that. But they're genuinely everywhere. Last year, we had the first one in a pub. So Crocosmia, in a pub just outside Bristol. There's also some Tobagia in a women's prison near Bath. Some in schools. They really are everywhere. And, you know, all sorts of people are getting involved. You can also hold them as a group, which I hadn't realized. So when I joined our local Surrey group for plant heritage, because we're based in Surrey, they said, here's an ajuga plant. I said, okay. They said, this is our shared national collection of ajuga held by the Surrey group. And again, you know, that just means I can look after one that's possibly not too difficult because I'm not really an expert in plants yet. But other people have got the more complicated ones. And together it makes a really good way of looking after the plants.
That's really cool. I have two questions that kind of roll into one. And, you know, it all sounds so fascinating. How does someone start one? You know, what does it mean to be a collection holder, and why is it important to care about saving plants? Like how and why?
So how is really straightforward. So basically people get in touch with us at Plant Heritage through the website or call us up, email us. And sometimes people come with a ready-made collection. So you get some people who say, oh, you know, I've been collecting these plants for the last 30 years and, you know, I want to turn them into a national collection. And then we help them through the process. Sometimes people say, I want to do my bit. And they may have already a few plants. They may not have really figured out what they want to do. And again, you know, we can walk them through the process. We can support them through it. So you can come in with a proposal. There's an independent accreditation committee who look at it, and they might help you. For example, if you do something where there are hundreds or thousands of plants, and that might be too much. Maybe you have a whole farm and you want that many, who knows? But if you don't, they can help you to narrow it down and say, okay, I'm going to, you know, suggest you take this particular plant between this period or this particular type of the group of plants, just to make it a bit more manageable. Because you can always build on it once a collection is up and running. So that's how it starts. And we ask people to have, you know, more than one type of plant, obviously within a collection, but also copies of individual plants, because that just helps to keep them going if one struggles, for example. We also want the information about the plants, because the plants on their own are really powerful, but we also want the data, the records, so we can keep that and pass it on to people in the future. So we work with people to put the plant records in place. We have a network of collection coordinators who support the national collection holders. So it really is this ecosystem that you're joining. All our collection holders are members of Plant Heritage, so definitely becoming a member is the right place to start. But I think the more important question you say is why does it matter? And it matters because, you know, as the UK, we've got this amazing diversity of garden plants. I think there's a lot of focus on wildflowers and on native plants, and, you know, and don't get me wrong, that's really important too. But because of the history, because of all the breeding that goes on in the UK, the RHS put out a figure this week of there are 308,000 different cultivated plants, which is huge. And that's everything from apple trees to orchids to daffodils to all sorts of different things. And the problem is only a third of these, 2/3 of these you can buy in shops and things, but the other third you can't buy anymore. And even if you can buy them, they're quite hard to get hold of. And so they disappear if they're not being grown. And so we're trying to keep as many as possible of them going through this network. And it may sound completely impossible, but, you know, it's been going 47 years. It was started in the late 70s. And the idea was get really passionate amateurs working with botanical gardens, professional gardeners, get everybody working together. And as of this year, we're at just shy of 100,000 different plants in the collection. So it just shows what can be done through this network of volunteers.
That's amazing.
Well, super cool.
Wow.
So is it like you guys like hold a database of all of that then in that case? And how do the collections look? How do they look like? I guess they vary by gardener, right? Because some will be very small, some are big. Do some lay them out very methodically, whereas others are kind of like a little bit mixed, but they know they've got the plants? Like how do they manifest?
Yeah, there's a real variation. So there's certain kind of minimum standards we ask for people because it's an internationally recognized conservation scheme. It's kind of the gold standard. But as I say, you know, we support people through the process. So we have a database called Persephone that we keep all the records in. Now, often collection holders are entering that data themselves. They want to do it that way. But if they just want to do it their own way, there's an Excel sheet, a book, that's okay too. But we want all the records in one place so we can keep tabs on them. How do they look? They really vary. I mean, some of my favorites are the ones where they're actually mixed in amongst other plants. As I say, I've got quite a small garden, so, you know, I like the idea of mixing up plants. And again, the whole point of plant diversity is keep them mixed.
Maybe safer as well, because if you had them all planted in one area, a tree falls down and it kills the illegal areas, you know. So
well, exactly. You know, one of my favorites is down at Worth Park in Sussex. So they've got the Achillea collection. And the head gardener there, Steve, every time he sees me, he says, "Oh, I've got some more. And they've planted the Achilleas in amongst other herbaceous borders. It's an open park. People can go and see them. But again, it's the idea that anyone can benefit from the work that's been done to look after the plants, and people can go and see them. All the national collections are open to the public at one point or another. So all the open days are on our website for people to go look at them. Sometimes if somebody's got them, you know, in a flat, house plants, obviously that's a bit more limited. Some of the younger collection holders actually put them somewhere else for you to come and look at them because they don't really want everyone traipsing through their flat if it's a small collection, for example. So as I say, you know, we're really flexible there to help people to do something that works for them.
And what would be the smallest collection then?
Oh, I don't know. Now you're asking me. I mean, there are some mini orchids. Beth Otway, who goes under the name Pumpkin Beth. I mean, she's got some miniature orchids in her collection. But, you know, and then as I say, you know, the King's got beech trees, he's got hostas, he's got mulberry bushes. So, you know, I don't have room for a beech tree collection, but, you know, he does. So fantastic. You know, it really can vary.
I think there's a guy, Johnny Amos, who's a friend of a friend, and I think he's probably still got it, but he had the national collection of Coletia, which is like this shrub with big thorns on, and there's only like about 5 in the collection. So like they could be collections that have got thousands and some that have just got a few as well, couldn't they? But I got a question with, like, is it only UK cultivars, or is anything from around the world is being then conserved in these collections that sit in the UK?
So they are plants which have been known to be growing in the UK and Ireland, but you know, as we all know, many of those come from all over the world, frankly. And the idea being that, you know, they may be more common in another country, but actually it's pretty hard to move plants around these days, or historically they may have been important. And that's why you get to that 308,000 in terms of the number of different plants. We focus on plants which have been around for at least 10 years, because, I mean, you know, you do loads of work with different breeders and you know how many different plants are coming through year by year. But many of those will disappear quite quickly. They won't last. So we focus on the ones that have been around at least 10 years. And as I say, it's all sorts of different plants, and we're still trying to get more national collections. So we do.
Whenever you're at Chelsea, I often see you kind of looking for people to take on various collections or to find certain cultivars as well. So how do you identify those collections, the ones that are at risk in gardens?
Sure. So there's a serious bit behind it where we've got a conservation team who do some analysis, and they're looking at which plant groups have we got a collection for, where have we got more than one collection, where is something that we think might be a risk, either because an existing collection holder is saying, I don't want to look after this anymore, I need to hand it on to someone else, or a plant where we haven't got a collection at all. So we have some analysis behind it that we use for our conservation strategy. But at the shows, the idea is, do a really nice, engaging display that shows people what can be possible. So it was my first time actually putting on the display at Chelsea this year. Working with a team to say, okay, what's going to be in bloom around Chelsea, because you want to look it good. So you're taking a subset of plants. We chose pollinator-friendly plants. So again, on our website, there's a missing collections campaign for 2025 with a range of different plants. And that's everything from, we had Silene this year, and we did at Chelsea and Hampton Court. And the idea is to show all the different kinds of Silenes that you might have, just to show people. One of my favorites, we nicknamed her Barbie. She was bright pink, really shocking pink. And it gets people coming over to the stand. And that's the way you begin a conversation about why the work matters and how people can get involved.
Yeah, that's very cool. I was just thinking, like, with all these collections, obviously, there's many hundreds of thousands that could be collected. But we've also got the struggle with climate change and pests and even changing trends, being able to get hold of the plants that you want. Have you noticed specifically any plant groups that are struggling more than others in recent years because of, those environmental factors?
Definitely. I think it's a real mix. So obviously lots of storms over the last couple of years. Somewhere like Stone Lane down in Devon, which has got birch trees, betula. They lost a lot of the trees in the really big storms. And, that's so sad when you see that whole collection coming under threat. So going forwards, we're trying to duplicate more of the collection. So we've got backup. And there was a different plant last year where somebody was, they got flooded and they nearly lost all their plants, but there was a duplicate collection. And the collection holders really work together, and they're very good about saying, okay, great, I can help you rebuild the plants that you've lost. One of the missing collections at the moment, that there isn't a national collection of Aquilegia, which may sound really surprising because they're very common, but they also get loads of downy mildew, which I think puts people off. I have to say that, again, across the different collection holders, they're real experts if you want advice. So fuchsia and gall mite is a growing problem. So again, we're working with the collection holders to look at, how can we get the word out about how do you look out for that? What do you do when you find it? And then we're just starting some new research where, we were set up from the very beginning to work with the RHS, the National Trust, Kew Gardens, other gardens like that. And we're doing some joint work together on climate assessments of plants to work out which are most at risk from changing climate, be that temperature extremes, hot, dry, wet, but also which might be most resilient. So you think of apples. Yesterday was Apple Day, 20 national collections of apples. There you go. Well, no, plenty
I
more.
did eat an apple yesterday, but I didn't realize it was Apple Day.
Plenty more scope for apples, crab apples. There's a medlar collection, all these, and people are really looking at the fruit, for example, to try and find the ones that will cope really well with climate change.
Okay, that's cool.
If I was then devil's advocate, I see a lot of the new breeding coming through, and that breeding's for a reason. It is to supersede older varieties. So then if we've, say, got a big improvement on an older variety, why would we conserve the older variety?
Well, I think the thing is, it's the genetic diversity, isn't it? So, right now we may be breeding for a particular thing, but you don't know how the weather's going to change, how the climate's going to change.
The genetic library is what we're doing, really.
We are, yeah.
So
we talk about it as a living library, living library of 100,000 different plants. And as you know, each plant variety is unique in terms of its DNA. And if it's not being grown, you lose that DNA. So, you need to keep it going. As I say, I've lived all over the world. When I was living in Malawi, there's a lot of work around maize. And again, people were very excited about particular types of maize. Everyone was pushing that. And then, a few years later, they're looking to go back to more of the heritage varieties of maize, because actually they turned out to be more resilient to those circumstances. So I think it's just that variety. I think the other reason is plants are heritage. You look at the National Trust.
Shouldn't just say goodbye to our history. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. We're trying to get some more historical collections started. And Gertrude Jekyll, tons of plants associated with her, with Munstead Wood. So, it would be fantastic to have someone put a collection of plants associated with her together. because they don't have to be the same plant. They can be associated with somebody in the past.
Okay. I want to dig in a bit more about some of the collections. Like, tell me some more of the strange ones, because you must meet some characters as well. Because when I was working for Thomson Morgan, I was like overseeing the breeding program, and I remember we were trying to buy some jasmine breeding from a jasmine breeder, and we went to visit them once, somewhere in Surrey, I think it was. And it was really like, you must find with these collection holders, like this was, the jasmine plants were everywhere. They were in the bath, they were in the front room, and they'd taken over because these people, rightly, are obsessed with plants, and it is their life mission to either breed an apricot flowered jasmine or to, collect all the different varieties of ligularia. So you must really meet some characters and see some unusual situations, right?
You definitely do. I was talking to the team earlier about, some of the best collection holders, and somebody was telling me about Monique Gudgeon, who's trying to build a forsythia collection in Dorset, and exactly that. She's got them in her bath. Fantastic. Not sure how my family would feel about that, but that you meet some brilliant people. Colin Parton and his Delphinium Dad, he goes by. His daughters do his social media. And I met Colin a year ago when I went up to meet our Yorkshire group. And, he was really quiet. We were sitting, talking with the group, and then it was his turn to talk. And he started talking, and, just the history, the passion that came through. He was telling me how, he used to come down to London, to the RHS with delphiniums with his dad, his granddad, as a kid. And then, when his wife died, he'd always liked plants, but he thought, what I really like is delphiniums. And so he just turned the whole garden into delphiniums. And he must be 70 odd, and he goes down every morning to the local stables, gets a barrow of muck, so they're really well fed. And he knows all the different delphiniums, and he came with a list of ones he's looking for. And so, again, we can put that list out and go, right, has anyone got these plants that can help Colin to put his delphinium collection together? And there are plenty of other people collecting delphiniums, but just listening to him and what it means to him and his family, it was just amazing. And I just love that, if you just meet these different people.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's your favorite collection that you've, seen so far? But obviously that sounds like it's up the list. Is there another that you've, seen personally and just thought, wow, mind blowing?
I think it really changes. I mean, as I say, I'm still learning. So I've done my RHS level 2. I started that before I took this job, when I used to be a lot of time on the planes, so I'd be studying and online and learning all the plant names to try and keep up. But for me, every month, every week, I meet new people, and that's how I learn about the plants. I mean, again, you said about Chelsea, Hampton Court. This year at Hampton Court, we had Jess Dighton with the Santolina collection.
Wow, nice.
I've walked past Santolina on people's walls all my life, never thought about them. And then you have Jess with all the different ones there.
And you really find out the diversity of a genus then. Yeah. Amazing.
And the funny thing was, she got herself on TV, and the next morning there was a queue around the block of people who equally had probably never heard of Santolina. It was really hot. They looked great in the drought, and they were saying, okay, I need this. So I geek out by learning what other people are doing and looking at the different plants.
That's cool.
That's the best way to learn, I know, it's super helpful and important to have theory for sure, but actually being out there and meeting the experts and seeing how plants grow in reality, that's by far the best way to learn. Absolutely. I have a question about how you work with other places like botanic gardens, nurseries, that kind of thing, because obviously they are as important as the individual collection holders. How do you work with those kind of businesses, if you like, or institutions to keep sort of the rarer or heirloom plants going?
Definitely, we work really closely with them. So partnerships is fundamental to the model. So lots of those big horticultural organisations are members of Plant Heritage. I'm sitting here in the RHS garden at Wisley, where we have our office. Wisley and the RHS have got 19 different collections. For some of the bigger ones, the more complicated ones, or the people that, there's a history with Wisley having some of these collections. Kew's got collections. Everyone's got collections in these big botanic gardens. But it's that individual element, I think, which goes with it. And that was the whole ethos, that people can make a difference doing what they love. And from the very beginning, it was the experts, but also the amateur enthusiasts who become the experts over time. I mean, we're really lucky with these partnerships. Q hosted a conference for us with all the collection holders late last year. And, you know, we, as I say, we're doing joint work together on climate assessments, this kind of thing. I was at RHS in Whitehall recently for a herbarium workshop with Tony Martin and the team putting that on. So it really is collaborative, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, the herbarium specimens that we're trying to collect from the actual living plants, you know, we're too small to have a whole herbarium library. I mean, we're, you know, as I say, we're tiny, but we keep the records of herbarium specimens, and then they can go into the RHS herbarium, for example.
Very cool.
I got like, in terms of the collections, like, is there any like rules in terms of like how they keep them? Because like, do they have to have more than one of each, or like, do they have to have like really special insurance? Because this living library of genetics is so precious. Like, what kind of guidelines are really there to make sure that it doesn't die?
Yeah, we definitely ask that you have more than one. So the starting position was try and have 3 of each. By the time the collection comes forward to be fully accredited, as I say, you can start with a proposal and build it up from there and get support from the team. I mean, obviously, if you're collecting trees, we're not going to ask for 3 of each of the trees on one site.
Unless King Charles is applying.
Well, exactly. Maybe he can have 10 of each, and then that'll be fine.
I think you can get David Beckham to have a national collection, because he has really gone in for the gardening.
Everyone's sniffing around him now.
He has a lot of land, so I think he has to be your next call.
Okay, I'm relying on you to connect us. I definitely think, you know, people do get more and more into gardening, you know, and obviously we've talked a lot about the national collections. We have a different scheme called the Plant Guardian Scheme, which is for those who don't have a big garden, for example, where you can just look after one or a few rare plants. Okay. And obviously within a national collection, you've got the whole variety, for example, of all the different Phylloxera. So you'll have things like black stocking that people know, but you'll also have the more unusual ones. But where there isn't a national collection, you know, we try and focus on the more rare, the more unusual plants to at least keep them going. And then we have this amazing thing we do every year with our members where it's called the Plant Exchange, where we swap those rare and unusual plants. So people, like the old Blue Peter bring and buy sale, but you don't actually have to bring one to get one, and it's free. So this year we swapped 800 plants that way. And again, you know, there are plants which circulate around the membership. So salvia is obviously really popular, pretty easy to propagate, so it's quite satisfying to try. And the Rodbaston series, I picked up a salvia Rodbaston red, hadn't really thought about it, but it's a beautiful bright red color. I got it in the Plant Exchange. I made some more, put them back into this year's Plant Exchange, and so you can make them less rare over time doing that.
That's really cool. So cool. If I was in the UK all year, I genuinely think I would love to have a national collection, and I would definitely go for one that you don't have and that would be a little bit tricky. Yeah, and I would dedicate my time to building that collection. Like, I'd love to do that.
Can I just ask though, like, do you have any kind of like plug into like the commercial side of it? Because surely if there are plants that are endangered, like one of the ways to preserve them is to make them a commercial proposition, perhaps, if they are still easily propagated and still perform in that way. So do you do any work along those lines? Because a great kind of like a prototype for that would be how the Wollemi pine was then put into production, and that then really kind of, you know, not necessarily saved it from extinction, but certainly made it more widespread. Something that was endangered in the wild was now represented in gardens around Europe. So
definitely. I mean, quite a lot of our members and collection holders are actually small independent nurseries. Think of something like Dibley's nurseries with the streptocarpus that they've got. We work really closely with lots of those nurseries. And again, you know, they're all plant enthusiasts, aren't they? They're people who love their plants, those independent nurseries. And again, they're real experts. And Dibley's have the collection, and obviously they have the more commercial varieties and the more unusual varieties. And I think they're celebrating their 50th birthday next year. But they've kept that work going from their dad and from their granddad, probably. So we do have those. We have another thing we do. So this year we ran a Threatened Plant of the Year competition. And again, it's a fun way for people to get involved, to highlight some of those rare and unusual plants, to think, how do we get them back in circulation? So Warner Castle put in their tetrapanax, Philip Wustenbrink, who's probably known to you guys because he's quite a plant expert. So he brought one of their tetrapanics. We had it on show at Hampton Court. They're propagating it, trying to get it back into circulation. But as you say, some of the more rare plants are rare for a reason. They're quite hard work.
Yeah, but there are sometimes possibilities because example would be there used to be an old geranium nursery called Vernon Geranium Nursery that we used to work with when I was at Thompson and Morgan. And they used to have these beautiful old varieties like Mr. Wren, which is like this red one with this white kind of collar around it, and the tulip flowered ones like Patricia Andrea, Red Pandora. And we took those old varieties that weren't that easy to propagate anymore because they were besieged by virus, etc. And we kind of cleaned them up. We kind of brought them to a commercial audience. So we kind of brought those kind of almost forgotten plants to that commercial stage. And that is what could be done because Dibley's is a good example, but they're kind of not necessarily mainstream commercial. So I wonder, I don't know if you've ever had a stand at the National Plant Show, for example, because it would be really nice to showcase some of these forgotten varieties in front of some of the main commercial producers in the UK. And maybe every so often there's one that we can bring back to a wider audience and it pops up in garden centres, which is, a level above your small independents. And so, every so often we can make that happen, and that would be great PR for you as well, I'm sure. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. I mean, definitely, we're very keen to get these plants back in circulation and those kind of partnerships. I mean, I think if anyone's listening and could help do that, that would be brilliant. And there are some examples where it's worked. But as you say, on a smaller scale. But you think of something like the Cedric Morris irises, the Benton End irises.
Yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, definitely.
Sarah Cook found those and researched them when she was head gardener at Sissinghurst and worked with a nursery to bring them back into circulation. 2023 at Chelsea, everybody loves Sarah Price's garden with them. And now everybody buys them. It was stunning, wasn't it?
And I think there's a point where that got so much interest that the commercial outlets will be looking to bring that to a wider audience as well. So that is where the pull factor will work for sure. Definitely. But yeah, maybe we should talk about that sometime. I think that would be
fantastic.
A way to uplift some of these.
I was going to say, Michael is your commercial plant guy, so I think you should employ him.
I'm brazenly commercial.
He is brazenly commercial. We love you for it as well. I would just love to know kind of how technology is impacting what you're doing at Plant Heritage, DNA testing and digital tools that can be used to both track and protect plants. So how do you work with the nature-based side of what we do in horticulture and the developing technology in the world?
I think digital is really central for all of us. I mean, there's so many debates at the moment and it can feel a little bit tired where, now my phone and my laptop keeps popping up with AI from every different company. And I'm like, come on, seriously, get together and come up with one version. But for all of us, as I say, we're a small charity. So just to give you, a few examples. So we're a small charity. We run as a charity with a proper governance. So, when I came on board, we started using Zoom and, and Copilot and things just to take the records of all the meetings that we do. Yeah. And it's quite funny when you see some of the things it records. There's always a bit at the beginning where everyone's saying, oh, my camera's not working, my microphone's not working, what's the weather like, But just for a small charity, saving lots of time on that kind of thing. And that's the small end of it. But then for us also, as we said, we've got this digital plants database, which is really important. Again, a big project we want to do in the future is make more of that information accessible to the public. So get far more of it on the web so that those who can't come to open days or around the world can get a lot more of the information. So we're just beginning to scope that and think, how do we do that? And then at the other end of it, as you say, there's the DNA testing. So as I said, apples, 20 apple national collections. Spartanburg College, for example, has got apples and they're doing some DNA testing, CRISPR there. John Webster down at Rosemore Garden, they've been doing some DNA testing of their apples. And I think there's growing interest in doing more of that. And I know lots of national collections holders have asked about being able to do more DNA testing, both to find out, is that really that plant? Yeah. There's so much, as we all know, about thinking it's something and it turns out to be something else.
Yes.
So I think, again, there's a lot of interest in doing more of that in the future, and having partnerships for people who can do that work would be great.
Yeah. I have an old apple tree on my allotment,
Mhm.
and it's said to be about 100 years old, and no one knows what it is. So we have taken the apple and the foliage and a little bit of stem to like
Oh.
apple days, for people. And they've kind of said, well, we think it might be this or it might be this, but no one is completely sure. So I really, really want to get that tested to see what it is for sure. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
My lovely old apple tree. It's beautiful.
Oh la la.
I definitely, as you say, I think there'll be somebody out there who can help you do that, and definitely people like Sparshot College, Chris Bird, and and Rosemore, John Webster. They're the people to talk to. I discovered this week as well. I don't know if you know, there's a Euro Pom Festival, European Apple Festival. It's going to be in the UK next autumn. So again, maybe that's the place to bring your apple.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Thanks for that. We're going to go apple picking, by the way. Well, as long as I can find somewhere we've still got apples. But yeah, we are.
So what's next for Plant Heritage? Because which RHS shows will you be at next year? When do you announce the Threatened Plant of the Year? When do you announce new collections as well? What's kind of like on the calendar through 26?
So probably like lots of people, I got the email this morning confirming that we've got a stand at Chelsea.
Okay,
so we're going to be doing Chelsea, we're going to be at Badminton, our Norfolk group are going to be doing Sandringham because we've got this amazing network across the country. The Yorkshire group are also looking, they often do Harrogate, things like that. So, people will see us at the different shows. And we, for the national collections, we have every quarter, we take proposals. And I think we've got the next meeting in December. I think we will have signed off 50 new national collections this year, which is a huge number. So that work will continue. The Plant Guardian scheme is growing, more and more people getting involved in that scheme. I think we're nearly at 3,000 different Plant Guardian plants. The threatened plants assessments work that we do, the member events, workshops, everything, that's continuing. I mean, I think the priority for us going forwards is our 50th birthday in 2028. So we'll be celebrating that, but we're also focusing on how can we be ready for the next 50 years. So, how do we future-proof the collections by, as I say, having duplicate collections? So if we lose them, we can rebuild them. How do we have more shared collections? So community groups, more pubs, more prisons, more allotments can get involved. How do we actually get more people learning the skills? Because the plants are great, but you need the skills to go with them. So doing more workshops. We're trying to work more with trusts, foundations, corporate partners to build up the workshops, the talks, the events that we're doing so more people can benefit. And as I say, we're really keen to get far more of the information about the collections online. We've been talking about this idea of national collections online, I think, for a decade. So how do we actually make that happen in time for our 50th birthday?
No. Oh, I love it.
I love the ambition. It's amazing.
Also, I feel really excited. I don't know why just chatting with you makes me feel so excited.
You sniff my espresso.
No, no, I'm genuine. I think it's really cool. I think it's just your passion comes through, your insight comes through. It's just it's really cool. And I love the idea that I know all this new breeding is coming through and everything, but it is so important to, preserve history. And again, like you said, with the changing climate, you never know what will be needed in the future, so that's so cool. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Where can listeners find you online?
So best place to go is go to our website, plantheritage.org.uk. And there's loads of information there about how to get involved. You don't have to become a national collection holder, but by becoming a member, supporting our work, that's really important as well. All our memberships donations support the plant conservation. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, under Plant Heritage. So they're the best places to come. Phone us up. We have a team who love taking phone calls. I know it's a bit old school, but we love phone calls too.
Ooh la la. Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Phone call. I don't like voice memos.
No.
I love a phone call.
Cool. Thank you so much, Gwen. We really appreciate your time today. It's been a really interesting episode, and I think listeners are going to love it.
I agree.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Hey, Michael.
What?
Do you like my scarf?
No. It matches your sweater. It's like one complete piece.
Yeah, exactly.
We're in the US, and I learned the best way to say asshole. And it's one of those words, Ellen, that sounds so posh in English, but it sounds really degrading in America.
I-
Asshole. Will you have to bleep that out,
Yeah,
Mrs. Editor?
I will have to bleep it out, and I have no idea how to do that.
Ah, well, it's your own fault. You shouldn't have opened a podcast for gossip with asshole.
It's okay, I'll work it out. How have you enjoyed America?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Tell us about it.
I've been in America with Ellen Mary. She's been hosting me. It's been very wonderful. Thank you.
We have been busy.
I know. I'm really tired sitting on this sofa right now. Oh my God.
Could you go to sleep mid-recording?
Flip a duck. Yeah.
So when you first got here, you were here like a day, and then we went to Charleston
Yeah.
because you were doing a talk at the Bloom Charleston Festival, yeah.
Inaugural.
And we were
Nice word.
inaugural. That's a great word. But also now that feels like a year ago already. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? We've done so much.
You've been gathered me about because you've been at Winghaven as well, doing
Yeah.
a cocktail class and a British
Yeah,
seminar.
a British tour of British Gardens,
You've also
which I
been for my
enjoyed.
birthday to see Venus flytrap.
Yeah, we went over to
That's really
Wilmington,
cute.
and we should say also because people are often like, oh, but I've seen Venus flytraps here, there, or da, 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 which is always spectacular
But
to
not
see
their
there.
origin.
But they're actually native to about a 70-ish mile radius around Wilmington in North
amazing.
Carolina. So we actually went to see them there, which was really cool, and then chilled on the beach. I fell asleep.
Mhm.
I snoozed.
Finally.
Finally, yeah.
We've been playing Scrabble a few times, and I realized that Ellen leaves the triple letters open. And then when I'm then like, why you leave the triple letters open? She's like, oh my God, you're so competitive. Well, no, I'm just playing Scrabble.
I know, but the funny thing is, if I leave a triple open, yeah, it's mainly because I haven't got any other letters, or I don't know.
I would never, even if I didn't have the letters, I would not leave a
But
triple.
I don't know what letters you've got, yeah. So you might not be able to use that
Yeah,
triple.
but you can't take the chance because I'll just do something to screw up the next person on the triple.
The bit I find so funny is that if I'm leaving a triple open, that's great for you because you could then use it and ultimately win, but you get really annoyed that I'm leaving a triple open.
But it's just so weird.
I just think it's really funny.
It's just so weird way to play Scrabble.
Just watching you is so funny.
Oh
And
my
then
God, honestly.
we played Scrabble for the second time, and I was keeping score on my phone, and my husband won. And the first time he played really bad and lost. And Michael literally thinks I cheated.
I think you just
and
wanted
gave
to win.
my husband more points, but I literally am not a cheater at games. Do you know what I mean? I would never do that. And you didn't like it because you got
You don't
big.
play them well enough to cheat.
I
Leave
get
the triple open.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
It's open and Michael stopped.
Honestly, Melon. Oh my God.
But also you've got to love my dog.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice.
It's very sweet.
She's called Dolly, and you call her Holly, Molly, Darling,
Darling.
and all the other names.
Oh, look at her. She knows she's being talked about.
Does she's watching
Oh,
you.
she shook my hand earlier on my last day.
And high five.
That was really cute.
And high five.
Thank you, darling.
You've
Thanks,
made
Dolly.
it stay.
Oh.
So, highlight of the last couple of weeks in North Carolina. Well, in South Carolina. And
I know.
did we go Georgia? And Georgia.
I've eaten a lot of wonderful foods.
Lots of foods. Yeah.
I've enjoyed everything, Ellen.
Oh, that's so sweet.
But I also love, we went to an awesome houseplant nursery yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the stuff in there was insane.
Oakdale Greenhouses, shout out to them because if you see my Instagram, you'll see that I do really love going there.
Oh my God, this
Sometimes if I've been sitting at home typing hours and I'm like, right, I need to go out, I just go and walk around there because it's epic.
this iridescent Solanginella is just, oh my God, the fact that that's available is just, and they had the microsorums as well with the iridescent. Oh my God, oh my God.
It is a very.
But how is that stuff just there so casually?
It's like some of those things are not available in England. Oh, they're very rare in England, but here they're not so rare. So like you go somewhere here and you're like, what? Oh my gosh, there's that, and that. But it's really awesome.
Just like Venus flytrap. Oh my God, to see those in the wild.
Yeah.
I lost my SH1T. Shit.
I loved your squeals.
Oh my God. It's just insane to see something in the wild. So iconic. And it's just there casually in the grass. And the way it grows in the grass, you can see how it's just ready to, attract crawling insects in particular, because it's called Venus flytrap, but obviously the diet is a lot wider than that. And you can see from how they grow that they're really appealing to crawling insects, really.
And also noticeably bigger as well.
Well, different, but you also saw them as seedlings, which is just, oh my gosh, as well. and the sundews. And I think they often say the Venus flytraps evolved from the sundew, or the other way around. No, it is that way around.
Okay.
And the Sarracenias everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I think a Darlingtonia, the one that looks like a snake.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they're just there.
Yeah, they're just there right in front of you.
And the Sarraceni, you know, the white one, the Leucophila.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It looks like a fancy selected cultivar.
I know, and it's stunning, isn't it? It's absolutely stunning. And there was
Couldn't make it
one
up, Ellen. You couldn't
with
make it
two
up.
bees underneath the lid.
Oh,
Did you see that?
yeah. And the flowers.
Yeah.
They had some of the flowers still there, which always look like some alien daffodil, I find.
Yeah, they're
Not the
really
Sarracenis.
very funky flowers. But there was just a couple, thankfully, we got to see, but we were a little bit late for them all at flower. But how cool is that?
Definitely.
Best birthday ever.
Oh, that's for me to decide.
I decided it for you.
But I've really loved getting to know your houseplants as well, Ellen.
Favorites? have you
Solanginella. This Strelitzia is nice.
Yeah. Look
But
at those
honestly,
beautiful new leaves coming
your
up.
gaff is really cool, honestly.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I appreciate that.
But we found something cool in one of your houseplants last week, didn't we?
What? Oh my
You were-
gosh.
But you managed to identify it, didn't you?
I'm just gonna go very quickly from the beginning.
Yeah.
A few days ago, I was making a bouquet
Uh,
in the back of our truck.
okay, right.
Yeah,
Got it.
for a delivery.
I'm following.
And there was a really huge praying mantis
Mhm.
that had obviously crawled off some stuff I'd had in the back of the truck.
The brick.
I'm gonna have to bleep that out as well now.
Yeah.
So we moved the praying mantis off into like the foliage at the side
Mhm.
and went about our business.
Mhm.
And then a few days ago, I saw something in one of my plant pots at home,
Uh-huh.
and it was buried like half in the soil. And I was like, what is that? And I left it like for a day, not really thinking anything of it. And then I came back to it, still there, and I was like, that looks really odd. It looks like maybe it did look like a fruit stone, yeah. But then I was like, we had the praying mantis just a few days ago.
Yeah.
So I Googled, what does a praying mantis egg sac look like?
Exact.
Egg sac.
Why do I love that word?
It is called that,
Exact.
right? Is it
You're an exact.
or nest or whatever? Because
Egg-
like they have like 100 babies and they eat each other and all. So
Yeah.
and it looked really similar. So I was like, oh my gosh, do you think, like I was
Yeah.
always unsure.
Yeah.
And I kept saying, I'm not sure, but I think it could be a praying mantis egg thingy. And I pushed it and it seemed a bit hard and there was tiny little white bugs on it. And I was like, anyway, so I showed you and
Yeah.
you literally did your ugly laugh.
Well, I didn't know at that point what this was. But then I suddenly realized,
You tell what it was.
and I looked at it again, and it was from the week before where you gave me a peach to eat, and I put the peach stone into your houseplant.
You put the peach stone
And you-
into one of my
It matters, eh?
houseplant pots and buried
Oh my
it
God.
half deep.
That is classic,
And
Melon.
we laughed until I cried with laughter, and I was so embarrassed
I'm embarrassed.
that I would even consider that to be something much better than you dumping your trash in my
Did your
plant pots.
identification thing not suggest peach stone?
No.
You
So
need a new ident app.
obviously we removed the peach stone to the bin, and then a few days later
Oh no, don't.
I'd moved a plant because it needed to be repotted, and I was sitting next to it typing, and I saw like something glimmer on the soil.
Was it a baby mantis?
No, and I looked at it and I was like, what's that glimmering on the soil? And when I picked it up, it was your flipping contact lenses.
I discarded them. I
You
should have buried it.
discarded your contact lenses.
Oh,
with
Melon.
another one of my plant pots. So all I'm now thinking is, what
Oh,
else will I find?
oh,
Give
Ellen, what you like?
What else will I
I don't think so, but I don't think there's anything there might be contact lenses on the floor in my bedroom. I might go and check for those. Oh my God.
Anyway, so yeah, that's been fun.
Oh, Melon, what you like?
So yeah,
Oh.
that's it. That's been our few
That's it.
weeks
Not that's it.
walking.
Tell us what you did at Winchhaven.
Well, I didn't mean that's it, as in it's over now.
Yeah. Tell me more about Winchhaven.
Oh, Wighaven is one of my fave gardens. I love everyone there. So it was their fall symposium they do every other year. and it was all about like Great British Gardens and floristry. So I done a talk about kind of comparing some UK gardens to some, well, I should say Great British Gardens to some gardens in the US.
Honestly, Ellen, you were exemplary. You look like you were doing a TED talk. The way you moved around the stage, like Vanessa Paradis,
Like
it was incredible, honestly.
That's hilarious.
When she was dancing around Joe the Taxi, you were just like that. Yeah. No,
Okay.
seriously, it's a compliment.
Okay,
Please.
well, I'll take the compliment. Thank you.
But honestly, you were really good. It was really
appreciate
good.
that.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, Shane Connolly, he done a talk about, sustainable floristry, a little bit
He
about.
didn't move around like Vanessa, though.
No,
No.
he didn't move around, but he was very good still. And he, showed quite a lot of the royal floristry work that he's done for the weddings, which was really cool. And then afterwards, Shane went off to do a floristry demonstration, and I done a herbal cocktail demonstration. I think we had a few tipsy ladies at
Which you did terribly well at.
Thanks. And you were my cocktail waitress.
I was. I didn't even expect to be, but yeah.
I dragged you a
That was
lot.
really cool. Really.
You were so helpful, thank you, because that was the first time I've done that.
I'm very efficient if you get me in the right light.
Yeah. Yeah. You were a good tiger.
And I called some ladies Tiger, and they loved it. I was like, "You're right down there, Tiger."
Yeah, they were like, "What?"
Yeah,
it was that was really good fun making cocktails. So I think I'll do that again. Learn a lot from that session.
Oh, absolutely.
I loved the ladies on it.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
was really good. So yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
that was great fun. And what were you doing at Bloom Charleston? Your talk and stuff?
I did a talk on weird and wacky plants, which was Wonder Crump.
And my husband loved it.
I know. But it was so funny because it was really hot, but to them it was really cold.
Yeah, it was
And we were like,
boiling.
"Oh my God, it's so hot today." And they're like, "Oh, they all got their anoraks on."
We
Difference of
big
interpretation.
chairs into the shade, which was really close to the stage, but there's nowhere I could have sat in it. And then for the next 10 days, my husband Webb, he kept mentioning things from it.
Yeah.
I learned this or I learned that from what you'd said.
So
It's really
cute.
good fun. Yeah, you really enjoyed
I've also been on a visit to Metroliner, one of the biggest suppliers in the US, which was really cool.
Had a good tour.
And quite honored to have that as well. I've also eaten many burritos and quesadillas, and I spilled coffee up your wall.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's faded now, actually.
Has it?
I think we could get away with it. Yeah.
I can see it. I'm gonna paint. I will paint it. So I'm gonna have to paint
Honestly,
over the wall.
I felt awful. I didn't know that it had I didn't know it was there at first because it happened at 6:30 a.m. before I was getting the taxi to go to Metroliner. And then when I was chatting to you when you were having breakfast, it was getting lighter in the day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is there." I was like, "Fuck."
I'm gonna have to bleep that out.
Ding dong.
Oh no, it's fine. I'll paint it. Did you hear last night after you went to bed that Webb dropped something in the kitchen?
No.
You didn't hear that?
Why?
So he went into the fridge and he took out the old Chipotle
Oh my
thing.
God, he's been eating leftovers for weeks.
To put because the bins went out, right? So he was taking out to put it in the
All
bin.
your uneaten takeaways went into it.
Yeah, but do you know what happened? The whole thing went everywhere, and I did. It was everywhere.
Really?
For the fridge.
Was it on my coffee stain?
No, unfortunately.
Well, that's a shame.
All
I could have
underneath-
passed it off as
It was
Chipotle.
honestly everywhere. I was just like, oh my God. And we went to bed relatively late last night. I
Were
was
you
so
furious?
tired. I wasn't furious, but I was just like, oh my God, right now.
Wow. Were you
Just-
furious?
No, I wasn't
I'm
furious.
trying to catch you out.
No, but
Were you super angry?
no, no. But yeah, I
Must have been well not.
wondered if you'd heard. And he was like, let me clean it up, let me do that. And I don't trust him to clean up. So I was like, no, I'll clean up. You put the bins out. It was everywhere.
Oh my Lord.
So between you and
Was
him,
that the chimichurri?
I don't know what it
sauce?
was. I have no idea what it was. But
Oh.
between you and him, you're messy, yeah.
No, we're not. Yeah, we watched a great Netflix documentary about a poo cruise.
Well, you and Webb did.
Honestly, Ellen's been really spending time with two boys this week.
I'm literally like, is this the kind of stuff you boys talk about all the
Talking about
time?
willies and stuff.
It's so boring.
It's boring. It's great.
For you two. Yeah.
But no, your hospitality has been second to none. Yeah.
Thank you.
Second to one.
Please review me online.
I will.
Not that this hospitality is open to everyone, I might.
Hello.
There's only a select few. And also, next time you come, I won't be as hospitable.
No, I know.
You can figure out yourself.
Get my own car and have a tent on the lawn. Yeah. Oh, honestly, but it's really fab. And we didn't have a gossip for weeks.
No, we forgot.
We forgot, yeah. We forgot the integral part of our podcast. So please let us know if you missed the gossip.
Yeah, actually, it would be really good to know because
people never tell you anything, do they?
5 episodes we've not
gossip.
You.
They don't tell you, Ellen.
No, and
they just let you do it.
We wonder if people miss it or not, or if people even get to the gossip part or not. Do you know what I mean? I don't.
Lovely to know.
Good to me.
And in other news, I'm in my football shirt era.
Yeah.
Which has run us into a few problems here and there. Because when you wear a football shirt in the US, it's a conversation opener. And this is not a conversation that I can continue, let alone enter.
So let me just give you a slight backstory. Michael wanted an American football shirt. Right. And when we look, so we're in North Carolina. Which would usually be UNC.
Write that down.
But the South Carolina, which we're very close to the border of, their big football team, college football team, are called the Gamecocks. So obviously Michael wanted that shirt. So we went to buy it, which he has been wearing, and each time he's worn it, because obviously it's so massive here, someone has literally said to him, "Oh, good game on Saturday," or "Are you going to the game on Saturday?" or "Aren't they doing well?" or "Are they not doing well?" or whatever. And Michael has no idea, so he kind of ignores it, and that means the person ends up talking to me about it, and I have to sound like I know what I'm talking about.
I just said because they couldn't comprehend what my answer was, which was like, I don't support them. I just like the color of the shirt. But I think they're not like ready for that response. No. So they're a bit like, oh.
So this guy was telling me how he was going to watch the game in Alabama with his daughter. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And Michael would just like turned his back thinking I'm not getting involved in this conversation.
But the same happens when you got this hat as well.
So the American football team here in Charlotte are called the Panthers. Historically, they've not really done very well the last few years, but they're doing pretty good this year so far. And you had the cap on, and we went to Aldi, and the guy at the checkout was like, "Oh, do you support Panthers?" And Michael was like, "What?"
No, my friend just gave it to me.
My friend gave it to me. And then the guy was continued to talk about them, but he knew less than me. So that's
like they're not doing that well.
But they've won most of their games until this last game. Anyway,
Melon,
that's been fun.
What you like?
So you must only wear sports clothing if you know what you can. I didn't
realize clothes would be such a conversation opener.
Yeah, definitely sports. Definitely.
Even random clothes, like when you're at the Winghaven thing, people are like, "Oh, I love your thing" or your blah and stuff. Yeah. It's such a different.
It's nice though. Also, it's nice that that gets recognised. So yeah, it's been good fun having you here. I won't miss the boy chat in any way.
Well, I think you will.
But it's been really good, and even the dog has come to love you.
Yeah,
and she is very fussy.
Thank you, Dolly.
She's a very fussy girl. But yeah, she's come to love you too.
Got to go on the night flight, Melon. Any tips?
No. Well, I was gonna say no alcohol.
Get a boat.
You don't drink. Yeah. Go on the Queen Mary. Just know that tomorrow it will be a tough day. Simple as that. You don't eat too much. Order a special meal because it comes first. Already. It comes first.
I'm masquerading as a vegan.
And then you could just sleep, quickly or sooner while all the other activities going on. But get up and move around at some point. And just tomorrow will be a tiring day. But then you get over it.
Okay, Ellen, thank you very much.
I don't have any amazing tips because I really just think your body tomorrow will be tired, but then you just have a good night's sleep and get back on with it,
Well, I say ooh la la.
To that. Night flights are tough though. I don't like the night flights, but that's what you do.
I'd rather have a night flight to Venus.
To Venus?
There's a Boney M song. Or album.
Okay.
I remember when I was a kid, the albums, the LPs in my dad's collection.
That's fun.
Night Flight to Venus.
That's fun. That's really good.
Ooh la la.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything
we're back.
else?
Let's do it.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely having you here.
Oh, thank you so much. That is absolutely wonderful. And yeah, I'm off to Holland next week to do some indoor plant hunting. So that should be nice.
That's
And
excellent.
you're doing a lot of floristry orders.
Next
I heard
week,
you're doing a bouquet for a tattoo parlor.
I am.
Is that a spoiler?
No, that
Oh,
yeah, it is a
Talking
spoiler.
of spoilers, we need to talk about Hollyoaks.
But it will be very, very cool. It's gonna all be black and white, like kind of dark. And I've got some ideas for that, so I'm looking forward to doing that next week,
your soul.
which will be really cool. Yeah, so I've got quite a lot coming up, and then with the festive season coming up, that's quite a lot of stuff going on then as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah.
Well done, Melon.
Thank you so much.
And Hollyoaks was amazing with this Brookside crossover. Oh my God. So special.
I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
You know I love Hollyoaks.
You do.
Coolio.
Okay.
Thanks, darling.
Thank you.
See you soon.
You will do.
Oh, see you on the screen. Bye.
Queen and Fine Floral Design are sponsors of the Plant-Based Podcast for Series 19. We provide nature-led designs for your home, office and events, because flowers really do make people happy. Check us out at queenandfine.com and follow us on Instagram at queenandfine.